Have you ever stood in front of a mirror, not to check your reflection, but to confront the weight of your choices? To ask yourself why you keep letting certain behaviors slide, why you allow what quietly chips away at your soul? If that question stirs something deep inside you, then you're in the right place. Welcome to ZENLIGHT 8, where we dive into the raw, unfiltered truths of life through the lens of Stoicism and self-improvement. Today, we're embarking on a journey to uncover 6 behaviors that you should never tolerate, not because they're inconvenient, but because they steal your peace, your power, and your presence. This isn't just about identifying what's wrong. It's about arming you with practical tools to reclaim your worth in a world that often asks you to shrink. From the subtle sting of disrespect to the suffocating grip of manipulation, we'll explore each behavior with stories, stoic wisdom, and actionable steps you can apply today. So, grab a coffee, settle in, and stay with me until the end. Because what you're about to hear could be the spark that changes how you navigate your relationships, your work, and your life. Let's begin with the first behavior: disrespect, the silent thief of your worth. Picture this. You're in a meeting, pouring your heart into an idea, and a colleague cuts you off mid-sentence, their tone sharp, their eyes dismissive. Or maybe it's a friend who rolls their eyes when you share a dream, cloaking their jab in humor. Perhaps it's a partner who brushes off your feelings with a casual, "You're overreacting." These moments don't arrive with a thunderclap. They creep in like a fog, settling over your confidence, your clarity, your sense of self. Disrespect is not always loud. It's the quiet erosion of your dignity, the subtle suggestion that your voice, your presence, your very existence is less than, and the danger lies not just in the act itself, but in what happens when you let it pass. When you swallow the hurt to keep the peace, you're not preserving harmony. You're handing over a piece of your soul. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Yet how often do we betray this wisdom, staying silent to avoid rocking the boat? We've been taught that confrontation is chaos, that speaking up is selfish, that enduring disrespect is the price of belonging. But let me ask you this: what does it cost you to stay quiet? What does it cost your spirit when you let someone treat your worth as negotiable? I once knew a woman named Emily, a graphic designer in her late 20s, who worked tirelessly to prove herself in a competitive agency. She'd stay late, perfecting every pixel, only to have her ideas dismissed. In meetings by a senior colleague who'd smirk and say, "Nice try, but let's go with something practical." Each dismissal felt like a pinprick, small but sharp, until one day she realized she'd stopped speaking up altogether. She'd learned to shrink, to make herself smaller, to avoid the sting of being ignored. But here's the truth Emily discovered, and it's the truth you need to hear. Silence in the face of disrespect doesn't build peace. It builds a prison. The Stoics believed that our power lies in our ability to govern ourselves, to choose what we permit in our lives. Disrespect tests that power. It's not just a slight. It's a challenge to your self-respect, a question of whether you'll stand upright or bend to someone else's comfort. Epictetus, another Stoic sage, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. When someone disrespects you, they're not just crossing a line, they're testing whether you'll draw one. And every time you let it slide, you're signing an invisible contract that says, "This is okay, do it again." But it's not okay. You were not born to absorb slights, to smile through slurs, to let your light dim so others can feel brighter. So how do you break this cycle? Start with clarity. You don't need to shout or strike to set a boundary. You don't need to unravel into anger to reclaim your space. It's about a calm, unshakable statement of truth. Imagine you're at a family dinner and your uncle makes a snide comment about your career choice, something like, "Still chasing that pipe dream, huh?" Instead of laughing it off, try this. Look him in the eye and say, "I'm proud of what I'm building. I'd appreciate it if you respected that." It's not aggressive, it's assertive. It's not chaos, it's clarity. And it signals to everyone at the table, especially yourself, that your worth is non-negotiable. This isn't about burning bridges. It's about building them to a better version of yourself. In today's world, where social media amplifies every voice, disrespect can feel like a constant hum. Maybe it's a coworker's passive-aggressive email, or a friend's backhanded compliment on your latest post, or even the inner voice that tells you to stay small so you don't seem too much. But here's a practical step you can take. Right now, the next time you feel that sting of disrespect, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what is this moment teaching me about my boundaries? Then write it down. Keep a journal, not a digital note, but a physical one, where you record these moments and how you'll respond differently next time. Maybe it's saying, I don't appreciate being spoken to that way, or simply walking away from a conversation that diminishes you. Each small act of courage rewires your mind, reinforcing that you are not here to be overlooked. You are here to be seen, heard, and valued. Let's be real. Standing up to disrespect can feel daunting. Maybe you grew up in a home where speaking out meant trouble, or you work in an environment where rocking the boat could cost you opportunities. But consider the alternative. Every time you let disrespect slide, it's like adding a brick to a wall between you and your truest self. Over time, that wall becomes a fortress and you're trapped inside, wondering why you feel so small. The Stoics didn't endure for the sake of endurance. They endured to preserve their virtue, their reason, their inner peace. Disrespect is not a test you pass by staying quiet. It's a test you pass by standing firm. And when you do, something shifts. The people who once took your silence for granted start to notice your strength. Some will test you further, accusing you of being too sensitive or difficult. Let them. Their discomfort is not your burden. Your job is to protect the life you're building, the person you're becoming. And yes, there will be consequences. You might lose a friend who can't handle your boundaries. You might face tension in a workplace that thrives on compliance. But what you gain is far greater. A life where your presence is no longer optional, where your voice carries weight, where your worth is not up for debate. Think of it like this. Every time you allow disrespect, you're paying a toll to stay in a space that doesn't honor you. Stop paying it. Walk away from the table where your dignity isn't served. Surround yourself with people who see your value without you having to prove it. In a world that often rewards conformity, choosing to demand respect is an act of rebellion, not against others, but against the version of you that settled for less. So, today, take one step. The next time someone crosses that line, whether it's a snarky comment, an interruption, or a dismissal, speak. Not to wound, but to affirm. Not to destroy, but to define. You are not here to be palatable. You are here to be powerful. And as we move forward, we'll uncover another behavior that can quietly unravel your peace. Manipulation, the shadow that disguises itself as love. Stay with me, because this next truth might just set you free. Let's dive into the second behavior that you must refuse to tolerate: manipulation, the subtle art of control dressed up as love. Imagine this: someone tells you they care about you, but their words feel like a leash. Their affection comes with strings, their concern with conditions. You feel a tightening in your chest, not from warmth, but from pressure to conform, to shrink, to bend to their needs. This isn't love, it's manipulation, and it's one of the most insidious forces you'll ever face. It doesn't break down your door. It slips through the cracks, convincing you that your freedom is the price of closeness. On ZENLIGHT 8, we're peeling back the layers of behaviors that steal your peace. And today, we're going to unmask manipulation with the clarity of Stoic wisdom and practical steps you can use to break free. Stay with me, because this might be the moment you start seeing your relationships for what they truly are. Manipulation is a thief that doesn't steal your possessions. It steals your sense of self. It's the partner who says, "If you loved me, you'd do this," turning your devotion into a transaction. It's the friend who guilts you into staying in a toxic dynamic, saying, "I thought you were there for me." It's the coworker who frames their demands as teamwork, leaving you drained while they take the credit. These aren't accidents, they're strategies. Manipulation works by twisting your empathy, your kindness, your desire to be good into tools for control. And the worst part? It makes you question yourself. You start to wonder if you're too demanding, too emotional, too much. But let me be clear, you are not too much. You are awake, and manipulation thrives on keeping you asleep. I think of James, a teacher in his 30s who spent years in a relationship where his partner would sulk whenever he pursued his passion for writing. "I just need you here," she'd say, her voice soft but heavy with guilt. James would cancel his writing sessions, convinced that love meant putting her needs first. Over time, he stopped writing altogether, believing his dreams were selfish. That's what manipulation does. It convinces you that your desires are flaws, that your boundaries are betrayals. But the Stoics, with their razor-sharp clarity, saw through this. Epictetus taught us, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When someone manipulates you, they're trying to control what's yours, your choices, your time, your truth. And every time you yield, you surrender a piece of your freedom. So, how does manipulation take root? It often starts with familiarity. Maybe you grew up in a home where love was conditional, where you had to earn affection by meeting expectations. So when someone mirrors that pattern, offering warmth only when you comply, it feels normal. But normal isn't always right. The Stoics remind us to question what we've normalized, to examine our lives with reason, not habit. Manipulation thrives in ambiguity, in the spaces where you're afraid to ask for clarity. It's the vague promises that keep you hooked, the apologies that never lead to change, the affection that's dangled just out of reach. And it's not just in romantic relationships, it's in friendships, workplaces, even family dynamics. Think of the boss who praises your team spirit while piling on work you didn't sign up for. Or the sibling who calls you selfish when you set a boundary. These aren't isolated moments, they're patterns, and recognizing them is the first step to breaking free. Let's talk about how to spot manipulation in your life today. It often hides in three forms: guilt, deflection, and isolation. Guilt is the manipulator's favorite weapon. They make you feel like saying no is a betrayal, like protecting your peace is an attack. "I thought you cared," they'll say, and suddenly you're apologizing for having needs. Deflection comes next. When you call out their behavior, they flip the script. "You're too sensitive," they'll claim, or "you're making a big deal out of nothing." Suddenly you're defending yourself instead of addressing their actions. And isolation? That's when they subtly pull you away from others, friends, family, anyone who might challenge their control. "They don't get you like I do," they'll say, until their voice is the only one you hear. These tactics aren't love, they're control, and they have no place in a life built on virtue. So what can you do about it? The Stoics teach us to anchor ourselves in reason, to act with intention rather than react to emotion. Here's a practical tool you can use today: the clarity pause. The next time you feel that tightening, that pressure to comply, pause for 10 seconds. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this request rooted in mutual respect, or is it trying to steer me? Then respond with calm conviction. If a friend asks you to drop everything for them, again, try saying, "I care about you, but I need to prioritize my own commitments right now." If a partner guilts you for needing space, say, "I'm not pulling away. I'm protecting my peace so I can show up fully." These aren't attacks, they're boundaries, and they signal that your worth isn't up for negotiation. In our modern world, manipulation is everywhere. It's in the coworker who jokingly undermines your ideas in a Zoom meeting, then takes credit later. It's in the influencer who sells you a lifestyle that leaves you feeling inadequate. It's even in the algorithms that nudge you to keep scrolling, to keep comparing, to keep doubting yourself. But you have the power to say no. Start small. Unfollow accounts that make you feel less than, mute group chats that drain you, set limits with people who only call when they need something. Each act of refusal is a step toward freedom, a declaration that your life is yours to shape. Let's deepen this with a Stoic principle: amor fati, the love of fate. To love your fate is to accept your reality without resentment, but it doesn't mean accepting harm. It means choosing what aligns with your virtue, even when it's hard. If someone manipulates you, amor fati doesn't mean staying in their grip. It means embracing the courage to walk away, to love the life you're building more than the comfort of their approval. Imagine the freedom of a life where your choices reflect your truth, not someone else's agenda. That's the life you're meant for. But walking away isn't always easy. Manipulation can feel like love because it's familiar, because it's wrapped in moments of warmth. You might doubt yourself, wondering if you're being too harsh. That's why you need a stoic anchor, a journal, a friend, a quiet moment of reflection. Write down the moments when you feel controlled and ask, am I growing in this relationship or am I shrinking? Share your thoughts with someone who sees you clearly, who reminds you of your worth. And if you're alone, sit with yourself and repeat this. I am enough. My peace is not for sale. These words aren't just affirmations, they're armor. As we move forward, we'll confront another behavior that distorts your reality: gaslighting, the quiet theft of your truth. Stay with me, because what comes next will arm you with the clarity to trust yourself again. Now we turn to a behavior that doesn't just test your boundaries, it seeks to rewrite your reality. Gaslighting, the insidious art of making you doubt what you know to be true. Imagine standing in a room holding a clear memory of what happened, a harsh word, a broken promise, a moment that left you wounded, and someone looks you in the eye and says, "That never happened." Or worse, you're imagining things. Suddenly the ground beneath you shifts. You question your memory, your feelings, your very sanity. That's gaslighting, and it's not a mistake. It's a calculated move to control you by dismantling your trust in yourself. Here on ZENLIGHT 8, we're unmasking the behaviors that steal your peace. And today, we're diving deep into gaslighting with stoic wisdom and real-world tools to reclaim your truth. Stay with me, because this could be the moment you start trusting your own eyes again. Gaslighting is a quiet violence. It doesn't leave bruises on your skin, but it scars your mind, leaving you second-guessing what you saw, what you felt, what you know. It's the coworker who denies dismissing your idea in a meeting, saying, "I never said that, you must have misunderstood." It's the friend who laughs off your hurt, claiming, "You're too sensitive, it was just a joke." It's the partner who tells you your pain is all in your head, framing their betrayal as your overreaction. These moments aren't careless. They're deliberate. They're designed to make you doubt your reality so someone else can author it. And when you lose faith in your own perception, you hand over your power. I think of Maria, a nurse in her 40s, who spent years in a marriage where her husband would deny his angry outbursts. "You're blowing it out of proportion," he'd say, even as she replayed the shouting in her mind. Over time, she started to believe she was the problem, that her memory was faulty, that her emotions were unreliable. She'd apologize for things she hadn't done, just to keep the peace. That's what gaslighting does. It turns your compassion against you, making you feel guilty for being hurt, wrong for being awake. The Stoics, with their fierce commitment to reason, would see this for what it is, an attack on your sovereignty. Epictetus wrote, "There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will." Gaslighting thrives when you let someone else define your reality, when you surrender your reason to their narrative. But you were born with a mind that can discern truth, and no one, not a partner, not a boss, not a friend, has the right to take that from you. So how does gaslighting take hold? It's subtle, creeping in through small denials that grow over time. It starts with a chuckle when you call out a lie, a raised eyebrow when you assert your truth. "Are you sure?" they'll ask, planting a seed of doubt. "Maybe you're tired," they'll suggest, framing your clarity as exhaustion. Over weeks, months, years, these seeds take root, and you start to question yourself. You hesitate to speak up, afraid you're wrong. You walk on eggshells, trying to prove your sanity. But here's the truth the Stoics knew. Your reality doesn't need anyone's approval to be valid. Your experience is yours, and no one gets to rewrite it. To fight gaslighting, you need to anchor yourself in what's real. Here's a practical tool for today's world: the reality anchor. The next time someone denies your experience, take a moment to ground yourself. Step away if you can and write down what happened, exactly as you remember it. Not their version, not the softened version, but the truth as you saw it. For example, if a colleague says, "I never ignored your input," but you know they cut you off in a meeting, right? On Tuesday, during the 10 a.m. meeting, they interrupted me 3 times and dismissed my proposal without discussion. This isn't petty, it's powerful. It's a record of your truth, a shield against distortion. If you're in a personal relationship, try this. When someone tells you you're overreacting, pause and say, "I hear you, but I know what I felt, and I'd like us to address it." This isn't confrontation, it's clarity, and it signals that your reality is non-negotiable. In our fast-paced digital world, gaslighting can feel amplified. It's in the comments section where someone dismisses your opinion as drama. It's in the group chat where your concerns are brushed off as no big deal. It's even in the self-doubt you feel when you compare your life to curated social media feeds. But you can fight back by trusting your inner compass. Seneca taught us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. When someone tries to rewrite your reality, they're banking on you imagining you're wrong. Don't let them. Lean into your reason, your memory, your truth. If you're struggling to trust yourself, find an ally, a friend, a therapist, a journal, who can reflect your reality back to you. Maria, the nurse, started keeping a journal of her husband's outbursts, and over time she saw the pattern. She stopped apologizing for her truth and started speaking it. It wasn't easy. She lost a marriage, but she gained herself. That's the Stoic path. Not hardening your heart, but sharpening your mind. Gaslighting often comes from those closest to you, which makes it all the more painful. A parent who denies your childhood struggles, a partner who dismisses your pain, a friend who rewrites your shared history. These betrayals cut deep, but they don't define you. Your truth does. And the moment you stop explaining your reality to someone who refuses to hear it, you reclaim your power. Try this today. Pick one moment when you felt gaslit and affirm your truth out loud. Say, "I know what I experienced, and that's enough." It's not about convincing them, it's about convincing yourself. As we move forward, we'll explore another behavior that leaves you unseen: neglect, the quiet theft of your worth. Stay with me, because this next truth will remind you that you deserve to be seen. Let's turn to a behavior that doesn't shout, but whispers its damage. Neglect, the silent theft of your worth. Picture this. You're in a room full of people you love, friends, family, a partner, and yet you feel like a ghost. Your words go unheard, your milestones unnoticed, your pain unacknowledged. It's not that they're cruel, it's that they're absent, and that absence carves a void in your heart. Neglect isn't a storm, it's a slow drip, eroding your confidence until you start to believe you're invisible. Here on ZENLIGHT 8, we're uncovering the behaviors that dim your light. And today, we're shining a spotlight on neglect with Stoic wisdom and practical tools to help you reclaim your presence. Stay with me, because this could be the moment you stop settling for crumbs and start demanding the respect you deserve. Neglect is a quiet cruelty. It's the friend who never asks how you're doing, but expects you to be there when they're in crisis. It's the partner who scrolls through their phone while you pour out your heart. It's the family member who forgets your birthday, not once but year after year. These aren't loud betrayals, they're subtle, and that's what makes them so dangerous. They teach you to shrink, to ask for less, to believe that your needs are too much. I think of Alex, a software engineer in his late 20s who spent years chasing his father's approval. He'd call to share his promotions, his new apartment, his dreams of starting a company, but his father would respond with vague grunts or change the subject. Alex kept trying, hoping one day his father would see him. But over time, he started to feel like his achievements didn't matter, like he didn't matter. That's what neglect does. It convinces you that your worth depends on someone else's attention. But the Stoics, with their unrelenting focus on what's in our control, would call this a lie. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your value doesn't come from someone else's acknowledgement. It comes from within. Neglect isn't just about absence, it's about the message it sends. It says your presence is optional, your voice forgettable, your heart dispensable. And when you internalize that message, you start to live smaller. You stop sharing your wins, stop asking for support, stop believing you deserve to be seen. But you were not created to be a shadow in someone else's story. You were born to stand in your fullness, to take up space, to shine without apology. So how do you break free from neglect? It starts with recognizing it for what it is, not a reflection of your worth, but a revelation of someone else's limits. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our actions, our choices, our responses. You can't force someone to show up, but you can choose who gets a seat at your table. Here's a practical step for today's world: the presence audit. Take a notebook and list the people in your life, friends, family, colleagues. Next to each name, write down the last time they showed genuine care. Did they ask about your day? Celebrate your successes? Listen when you needed them? If their column is empty, ask yourself, why am I holding space for someone who doesn't hold space for me? This isn't about cutting people off impulsively, it's about clarity. If someone consistently neglects you, you don't owe them your energy. In our hyper-connected world, neglect can feel even more jarring. It's the friend who likes every Instagram post but never texts back. It's the coworker who emails only when they need a favor. It's the partner who binges Netflix while you sit in silence, craving connection. These moments aren't trivial, they're signals, and the Stoics would urge you to listen. Seneca wrote, "Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future." Don't let someone else's neglect steal your present. Instead, redirect your energy to those who see you, who show up, who match your effort. If you're struggling with neglect, try this. Reach out to one person who makes you feel seen. Send a text, make a call, share a small piece of your heart. Notice how it feels to be heard. Then, make a commitment to yourself. Stop chasing those who vanish. If a friend only calls when they're in crisis, let their next call go to voicemail. If a partner ignores your needs, have an honest conversation. I feel unseen when you don't engage with me. Let's talk about how we can show up for each other. These aren't ultimatums, they're invitations to mutual respect. And if they can't meet you there, you have permission to walk away. Neglect often feels personal, but it's not. It's a reflection of someone else's capacity, not your value. Maybe they're distracted by their own struggles, or maybe they've never learned to show up. Either way, it's not your job to fix them. Your job is to protect your peace, to surround yourself with people who don't need reminders to see you. Think of it like this. Every moment you spend chasing someone's attention is a moment stolen from your own growth. In a world that moves at 1,000,000 miles an hour, your time is precious. Don't waste it on those who treat you like an afterthought. The Stoics would call this a practice of memento mori, remembering that life is short and you deserve to spend it with those who value your presence. As we move forward, we'll confront a behavior that poisons even the closest bonds: jealousy, the quiet resentment that hides behind a smile. Stay with me, because this next truth will teach you how to protect your light from those who try to dim it. Now we face a behavior that cuts deeper than most: jealousy, the silent fracture in friendships that masks itself as love. Picture this. You share a victory with someone you trust, a promotion, a new relationship, a dream finally taking shape. You expect their joy, their pride, their celebration. But instead, you get a tight smile, a quick change of subject, a comment that stings more than it supports. That moment, that shift, isn't your imagination. It's jealousy, and it reveals a truth you can't ignore. Not everyone who walks beside you is cheering for you. Here on ZENLIGHT, we're peeling back the layers of behaviors that dim your light, and today, we're diving into jealousy with stoic clarity and practical steps to protect your growth. Stay with me, because this could be the moment you learn to surround yourself with those who lift you up, not pull you down. Jealousy is a quiet betrayal. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It slips in through silence, through a friend's sudden distance when you succeed, through a family member's subtle jab disguised as advice. It's the coworker who says, "Must be nice," when you share your good news, their tone dripping with resentment. It's the friend who stops calling when you start shining, only to reappear when you stumble. These aren't just moments, they're revelations. They show you who's truly in your corner and who's keeping score. I think of Sarah, a young entrepreneur who launched a small bakery in her hometown. She'd share her milestones, her first big order, her feature in a local paper, with her childhood friend, expecting support. But instead, her friend would respond with, "Just don't get too big for your britches," or change the subject to her own struggles. Over time, Sarah stopped sharing her wins, dimming her joy to avoid the tension. That's what jealousy does. It makes you shrink your light to protect someone else's shadow. But the Stoics, with their fierce commitment to virtue, would call this a betrayal of your purpose. Seneca wrote, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have, and to cheerfully put to good use what they do have." Jealousy thrives when someone wants your light instead of cultivating their own, and it's not your job to dim yourself to make them feel whole. So how does jealousy take root? It often starts with comparison. In our hyper-connected world, where every achievement is broadcast on social media, jealousy is a constant hum. You post about a new job and a friend's like feels hollow. You share a personal milestone and someone comments, "Wow, I wish I had your luck." These aren't compliments, they're calculations, subtle ways to measure your success against their own. And when you internalize their resentment, you start to apologize for your growth. You downplay your wins, hide your dreams, make yourself smaller to keep the peace. But peace built on shrinking isn't peace, it's surrender. The Stoics teach us to walk our path with courage, not to adjust our pace to match someone else's comfort. Here's a practical tool for today, the circle audit. Grab a piece of paper and draw 2 circles. In the inner circle, write the names of people who celebrate your wins without hesitation, those who call to cheer, who share your joy, who see your growth as a gift. In the outer circle, write the names of those who hesitate, who deflect, who dim your light with their silence or their jabs. Now ask yourself, why am I giving energy to those in the outer circle? This isn't about cutting people off. It's about prioritizing those who lift you up. If a friend can't clap for your success, they're not a friend. They're a spectator, and spectators don't belong in your inner circle. In today's world, jealousy can feel amplified. It's the colleague who scrolls through your LinkedIn profile but never congratulates you. It's the family member who compares your life to theirs, always finding a way to one-up you. It's even the inner voice that tells you to stay small so you don't show off. But you were not born to hide your light. The Stoics would remind you of memento mori. Life is short, and you don't have time to waste on those who resent your growth. Instead, focus on those who match your energy, who see your success as inspiration, not competition. Try this today. Share a small win with someone you trust, a project you nailed, a goal you reached, and notice their response. If it's joy, hold them close. If it's silence or shade, take a step back. You don't need to confront them. You just need to choose who gets your time. Jealousy hurts because it often comes from those you love. The friend you laughed with for years, the sibling you shared secrets with, the mentor you admired. They're the ones whose envy stings the most. But their resentment isn't your failure, it's their struggle. Your job isn't to fix them, it's to keep growing. Seneca taught us to surround ourselves with those who elevate us, who challenge us to be better, not those who pull us down to feel bigger. So let the jealous ones fall away. Let their silence be their exit. You're not here to carry their insecurity. You're here to build a life of purpose. As we move forward, we'll confront a behavior that exploits your greatest strength, abusing kindness, the theft of your generosity. Stay with me, because this next truth will teach you how to give without losing yourself. We've reached the final behavior that you must refuse to tolerate. Abusing kindness. The exploitation of your generosity. Imagine this. You give your time, your energy, your heart to someone. A listening ear, a helping hand, a shoulder to lean on. You do it because it's who you are, because kindness is your strength. But then you notice a pattern. They only show up when they need something. They take without giving back, lean without lifting, consume without contributing. Your kindness, which you offer freely, becomes their resource, and you're left feeling drained, not valued. This isn't connection, it's abuse, and it's time to stop letting your compassion be a doormat. Here on ZENLIGHT 8, we're uncovering the behaviors that steal your peace, and today we're diving into how to protect your kindness with Stoic wisdom and practical steps for today's world. Stay with me, because this could be the moment you learn to give without losing yourself. Kindness is a rare and powerful force. It's the choice to see someone struggle and offer help, to listen when the world is too loud, to give without expecting a reward. But in a world that often values ambition over empathy, kindness is mistaken for weakness. People see your open heart and assume it's an open door, one they can walk through whenever they please. They test your patience, push your limits, take your time, assuming you'll never say no. And the pain of this isn't just in their taking, it's in how it changes you. You start to wonder if your value lies in how much you can give, how much you can endure. I think of Lisa, a social worker in her 30s, who was always the go-to person for her friends. When someone needed a ride, a loan, or a late-night vent session, Lisa was there. But when she hit a rough patch, losing her job, grappling with anxiety, those same friends were nowhere to be found. "You're so strong," they'd say, as if her strength meant she didn't need support. Over time, Lisa felt like a well. Everyone drew from, but no one refilled. That's what abusing kindness does. It turns your generosity into a transaction, leaving you empty while others walk away full. The Stoics, with their focus on virtue, would see this for what it is: a violation of justice. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears." But those tears aren't for your kindness. They're for the moments you let it be exploited. Kindness is a virtue, but only when paired with discernment. Without boundaries, your generosity becomes a magnet for those who take without giving, who see your heart as a resource, not a gift. So how do you spot this abuse? It's in the patterns. The friend who only texts when they're in crisis, but vanishes when you need them. The coworker who leans on you for every project but never acknowledges your effort. The family member who expects your help but bristles when you set a limit. These aren't relationships, they're imbalances, and they thrive because you've been taught that saying no is selfish, that boundaries are cruel. But the Stoics teach us that true kindness starts with self-respect. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Your power lies in choosing who gets your energy, not in giving it endlessly. Here's a practical tool for today: the boundary blueprint. Take a moment to reflect on your relationships. Write down one person who consistently takes without giving back. Maybe it's a friend who calls only when they need advice, or a colleague who dumps their work on you. Next, script a clear, kind response for the next time they ask. For example, if they want you to drop everything for them, say, "I'd love to support you, but I have my own commitments right now." Let's find a time that works for both of us. Practice it in the mirror until it feels natural. This isn't rejection, it's respect for them and for yourself. In our modern world, abusing kindness is everywhere. It's the group chat, where you're always the one solving problems, but no one checks on you. It's the workplace culture that praises your selflessness while overloading you with tasks. It's even the social media follower who DMs you for favors, but never engages with your content. But you can protect your kindness without losing it. Try this today. Say no to one request that doesn't align with your priorities. Maybe it's declining a last-minute favor or skipping a call that always leaves you drained. Notice how it feels to reclaim your time. Then redirect that energy to someone who reciprocates, someone who sees your kindness as a gift, not a given. The Stoics would call this a practice of amor fati, loving your fate by choosing what aligns with your virtue. Your kindness is precious, but it's not infinite. It's like a well. You can share its water, but you need to refill it with self-care, with boundaries, with people who pour back into you. When someone abuses your kindness, they're not just taking, they're teaching you to doubt your worth. Don't let them. Surround yourself with those who match your generosity, who see your heart as a treasure, not a tool. And if someone can't meet you there, let them go. Not with anger, but with wisdom. Your life is too short to be a resource for those who don't value you. As we wrap up this journey through the 6 behaviors that steal your peace, let's bring it all together with a final reflection. You are not here to be overlooked, controlled, or diminished. You are here to live with clarity, to love with discernment, to shine without apology. On ZENLIGHT 8, we've explored disrespect, manipulation, gaslighting, neglect, jealousy, and abusing kindness. Not to dwell on pain, but to empower you to rise above it. The Stoics teach us that life is short, and every moment you spend tolerating what dims your light is a moment stolen from your purpose. So here's a practical step for today's world. Start a Stoic journal. Each night, write down one moment where you felt your worth was challenged. Maybe it was a snarky comment, a guilt trip, a moment of neglect. Then write one action you'll take to honor yourself, whether it's speaking up, setting a boundary, or walking away. This isn't just reflection, it's revolution. It's how you build a life where your peace is non-negotiable. If this message resonated with you, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with 3 words that capture your takeaway. Maybe, I choose myself, or no more silence. Your voice matters, and sharing it helps us build a community of growth and clarity. And if you're ready for more wisdom like this, hit that subscribe button on ZENLIGHT 8. We're here every week, diving deep into Stoicism and self-improvement to help you live with purpose. Let's keep rising together. Next week, we'll explore how to cultivate unshakable confidence in a world full of noise. Don't miss it.